Hey family, Pastor George back with another exciting episode of The Wealth Cycle, where we show you how to build a financial legacy. Last episode, we went over some areas of budgeting. Shayna, Burnell, awesome. But hey, have you ever had a budget that showed you how to build wealth? We're gonna do that today. So first of all, I just wanna lay a little bit of groundwork. When you make money, $1, there's only 3 things you can do with it. How many things can you do with it? 3 things. You can spend it, right? You can spend the money. The second is you can lend it. That means you put it in a bank. You know, right now banks are paying 0.0000001%, right? It's kind of crazy, right? And then the third thing you can do is you can own something, right? So there's 3 things you can do with it. So think for a moment, what happens when you make money? How much of it is spent? Oh, please don't say all of it. You know, we want to have it where we start saving at least 10%, just like how we do, and I get that from the word tithe, 10%, and then just like as you're giving, all right? So you can spend it. The second one is, we already talked about lending it. And then how much of your money goes towards ownership? So tonight we're going to use something that I also utilize in my book, and it's also something we walk everybody through. And we have something called a wealth map. And one of them, so what we do is we call this money in motion. Money in motion. You see? Y'all didn't know I had them breakdance moves, did you? But we got money in motion. Now, where was I? So you take all of your money and you divide it up into 3 areas. How many? I already gave you 3, so 3 areas. First, installment debt. Installment debt is debt in what you owe people and what the monthly payment is. That's the total debt. That's the total debt. Then in the middle, it says budget. Ooh, I said it, budget. So it's gonna be your budget. And we're gonna say like what you spend monthly on it. So we have installment debt, and then we have budget. And then the third area is prosperity dollars. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna repeat it at least 3 times. Prosperity dollars, prosperity dollars. That means, first of all, what you tithe. Then also, I want you to also write down what you have in checking, savings, and there's something called a retirement. That's a 401k, a 403b, a 457. If you don't know what any of those numbers are, then an IRA, or also there's a SEP, Simplified Employee Pension, or any type of retirement. And then I want you to have equity in your homes. And then also, just to give you credit, write down whatever educational degrees you have that you don't have debt on. In other words, I can do that. You're just writing those down in those categories. Go over it one more time. We got installment debt. So you're writing down what the mortgage balance is. In other words, if you owe $500,000 on, $498,328.57. You write that down. Then you write down what your credit cards are, things like this. Then in your budget, we went over this last episode, but then what's in your budget? So you're saying what the mortgage is monthly payment, what your rent payment is, what your cell phone, and then you're writing down all of your expenses. And then you have your prosperity. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how to reduce that. I got excited about what we're already gonna do. You're gonna reduce your debt, make your budget smaller and positive, and then you're gonna build your prosperity. And that's why we're gonna build this. And you know what we call this? We call this money in motion. Are you ready? Let's go. Ready, set, roll. Hello, family. Like I promised, another exciting episode of The Wealth Cycle. Got back with me. It's her birthday today, Shayna.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. Hey, man, type happy birthday in the chat or something like that. And then going through all this and do this, we actually have a live example of also walking through a lot of these areas of budgeting, getting out of debt, wealth building. We got with us Burnell. How you doing today?
I'm well, I'm blessed. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good. Hey, man, I'm glad. So, hey, we covered a lot of things last episode. We covered a lot of areas about the budget. We talked about percentages and how to do that. You guys can check out that episode. But on this episode, we're going to show you how to build wealth with a budget. So I'm going to show you a couple of illustrations. We're going to walk through a couple of examples that are going to show you how to do that. So first of all, before I walk through the first two, there's two of them. Before I walk through them, you know, football season is upon us.
Yes.
Football season is upon us.
Let's go.
So whenever you have an athlete, there's two things that they actually test on every athlete. How fast they can run the 40-yard dash and how many times they can bench press 225 pounds. They say that's can somebody do. They also do other things, vertical, different things like this. There is an exercise that we do at Thompson Wealth Management, and also that I've done in my books and everything, that show where people are financially. And I call it money in motion. You want to see it again? Money
Hey.
in motion. If you don't remember nothing else, you guys understand how to do this. Why y'all laughing?
I love it.
If y'all understand how to do this, this will help you financially the rest of your life. This is an illustration I use. I've walked through this for over 25 years in teaching people. These are techniques I've used. These are techniques I've used to get out of debt. These are the techniques I've used to pay off cars, homes. These are ones I've used to have investment portfolios. All right. So first of all, so there's money in motion. You need to divide your money into 3 categories. Everybody, how many in the chat? 3 categories. The first is installment debt. Okay, that is installment debt. We're going to cover that. The second category, and we'll put up, is budget. That's what you spend money on. And then the third area is prosperity dollars. So we want to find out where your money goes. And then so you already know this, as Shana has not only read my book and done all this, she's also worked with me for quite some time, is this. Everybody hold up 3 fingers. Whenever you make $1, there's only 3 things you can do with it. Spend it, right? We won't spend any time on that because we think most of you have that down, right? Because people are there, put down the Amazon. Hey, stop shopping while we're doing this. Spend it. The second thing is lend it. That means put it in the bank. You never get that thing in the bank where, like they say, you made $2 or something for the quarter. Is that? I think they should just do 0 because the $2 is kind of like.
I'm slapping face.
It's kind of insulting, isn't it? And the third is own something. Watch. Installment debt. Budget. Prosperity. I know you saw me doing my break dance pop lock moves, which I got some more, man. I was challenging my kids at this. But when you guys make money, look at how your money flows right now. Just I want you to think about this. Just psychologically right now. How much of it flows to debt? Okay? Then I'm going to have you comment on this, but how much of it flows to debt? Like when we say debt is, how much do you owe on your mortgage? You already saw, I went through this. How much do you owe the total balance? Because see, that brings stress to people. So we want to give you a plan so you get out of that. And then how much of it is your monthly payments and bills? So if you have a lot that you owe and your budget's big and your debt is big, then your prosperity is small. If your budget is smaller and your then you can make, and your income's higher, you can flow it into your income. And we want to do that. Shana, what's some of the things that you've seen in working with clients and seeing that from when we do money in motion of having people having a proper budget and then kind of going through the debt?
So we talked about installment debt, and people don't want to look at it. They don't want to write it down. They don't want to face it head on. They don't want to see. Yeah, they don't want to. I just want to get through the month, and a lot of times we use the installment debt to actually fund towards the budget. So that's why it is really, really important. You need to list them. You got Amazon, Chase, PayPal, all of your credit. Debt is not a bad thing. So I don't want people to go around, because we do leverage. We're Americans. We leverage debt to get other things, to get assets that we can own over time. But in order for us to get where we want to be, we have to limit the installment debt area. So you're going to need to list all your minimum payments for your credit cards, minimum payments only for your credit cards, and then separately, outside of the money in motion, you can write down the balances, so that way you can track them. But list all of your... No, the balance is
on the installment side, but also I think what you said on a previous episode, you said to have a plan.
Absolutely.
That's when I talk to people. Debt, that's the plan. So I want to go through so when you started going through money in motion, we see the installment debt, and then you see the budget and different things. How did it work for you? What did you see kind of when you first started that process?
Well, when I first started, it was a let me try this out. Let me see if this works. There was a little uncertainty, even though you wanted to be debt free. Like, I'll try it out and I'll see. But once you actually started, working towards paying the debt off, and you realize that the system works,
right?
I think that's the key thing. Once you start exercising the plan and you see that it works, then it gives you more confidence to use it moving forward.
Right. So I'm going to jump in here on that. Is that, because right now there's someone that would say, I just don't have any money. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when that's said, it says,
I don't like
you actually, I know we don't, when people say it to us, we're like this, okay.
Oh, show me.
Write it down.
Yes.
And then we go over, is actually you do have money. It's not being managed properly.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That's why, you remember I did that, I'm going to get down and do some push-ups right now. You see how remember we said that is because you have good income. There's people that there's a lot of people that make six figures, and then on December 31st, they look around and have nothing. Mm-hmm. That comes from not managing it properly, and then we say being a proper steward. Correct. And by the way, whenever you hear me say stewardship, it just means a manager and how we manage things. Mm-hmm. So this installment debt, it's very interesting because what happens is when actually you write it down, this is the first thing is have a plan, and then I want to say the second thing, and then you guys just chime whenever you're ready, is to be intentional.
Yes.
Correct.
I was asked in a previous show, one of the things that Crystal came, I was sitting there, she caught me off guard. She goes, how'd you pay off your house? And because actually when I travel around the country, do you know that other financial advisors or other people go, you did that in California? Mm-hmm. And I said, no, with 2 kids. Right. And by the time I paid off, I had 3. You know what I mean? Like I had, you want to know something about kids? They eat every day. Like different things. No, it's like
multiple
it's crazy.
times a day.
And then you know what? They have these places around. Mm-hmm. You can actually bring them.
And eat fruit.
I'm sorry to use some cuss words anyway. But anyway, Legoland, Disneyland, and what they do is they literally just take everything from you.
Yes.
So what you do is you have to actually have a plan for everything. Mm-hmm. And even that's even thing. So now I love going to those places because I have a plan when I go there of what we're going to do. I have things that take the edge off of them.
Mm-hmm. And let's be a part of it.
And that's right. So you guys already know. So I think you already know because I've done enough on this. On this is that when my kids, when we go to any of those amusement parks, the first thing we do is the night before. I said, hey, everybody, what do you guys want to eat for lunch? Let's make it right now, and we're gonna freeze it. It'll be thawed out by the time you're ready to eat. Then I give each of my children $20, and I count it out in $5 bills to them, and I say, whatever you keep of this, I'll double it the next day. Do you see what? Please catch on. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm moving them from budget to the positive side of cash flow.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing that at young ages. Yep. Because you guys want to know something in life is people pay for an experience. I want them to learn how to experience, how to enjoy things as thinking like a wealthy person. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is some people go, I just want to go out and spend all the money and do something. Like, that's why that's not reality. Mm-hmm. Where can you go, right? And walk in the door, and then there's just rides all day, and you eat ice cream, candy, and stuff all day, and then leave, and then stay at their hotel and come back home. That's not reality. Mm-hmm. That's why people try to escape. Then later on, they go to other places. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel like you guys already know the one in the music park that got the little mouse, but I call him a rat. That's like Vegas training, right? The kids go there, pull machines, and then they go get into that. Mm-hmm. What we have to do is learn how to have that experience and show it, so we do that as we're older. So back to installment debt and then budget. So one thing's the budget. We already went over that in the last episode. We talked about, so you have your budget. Mm-hmm. And then this is the part though I want to talk about today. Look at how you can make things on your budget that are sources of income. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to, for the sake of argument, what the house value, I'll do the first, what home value do you want to say is the average home value in LA area? Can we start? Okay, gotcha. She says 650. Okay, cool. Can we do 700,000 to make the math easy? Yeah. I want to do 700,000 just to make the math easy. If we bought 2 homes, I'm gonna start with one. So we bought a home for $700,000. You live in it. So then let's say you put down something or you've been paying on it. So the debt is $650,000, but it's worth $700,000. So in the installment debt is $650,000. In the budget, what do you guys think? Mortgage, principal, interest, and everything like this? About 30, 34, 35?
I was going to be somewhere around there. Between that and 4.
Let's say it's 35, okay? And then all the people want to beat me in the chat, you can go ahead and put in whatever number you want, okay? 4,000, whatever you want to put in.
Not today's interest rate.
I'm saying, yeah, but I know, I'm sorry. You had it 2 years. You had it 2 years. Today it'd be 4,500. Okay, gotcha. All right. So, can I just make it $4,000? So I want to make this math really easy. 650,000, $4,000 a month you're paying a mortgage, 50,000 in prosperity dollars. Do you guys see that? Back to prosperity dollars. That's tithing, giving, 401 checking, savings, 401k, 403b, 457. You know this was 457. You don't know this? IRA. All that goes in there. You have $50,000 in equity.
Equity.
What's the other way we can make this money in motion positive? Is we buy another property right next door. I'm saying that's a home too, or a duplex, but I'm gonna say a home now because it's $700,000, and we owe $650. But we're not paying $3,500 rent. I'm sorry, $4,000 rent. We're renting it out. Let's just say for $5,000. Can I say $5,000 to make the math easy? Has everything like this. So it's a plus $1,000. Plus we have $50,000 in equity. Do you see what's happening? We're making our debt lower. Someone else is paying on the budget because that $1,000. What are we doing with that $1,000? We're using that in a debt multiplier to pay the property down, and we're building our assets. So that's how we do them. Yes, go ahead.
So basically what you're saying is that instead of purchasing a home for yourself to live in, you're going to buy a rental investment property, which will then be a source of income.
Right.
To pay down.
So you're doing both.
Okay. Yes.
Prior to having kids, I don't want to discourage anybody from doing that. So yeah, you're single. Single?
Yes.
So if I was, and see that, no, none of the kids, all that stuff, because it's different. It's different now when you have kids, right?
The budget look a little different.
Yeah, budget look a little different with kids. Type in the chat. Just look at it. Okay, so like when I was single, I would buy units back then, and I would move every year because you get what's called owner financing, and I would move to a different one, and I was doing it. So I'm saying start adding to that. So in Money in Motion, you want to start saying, how are you going to have an investment portfolio? To someone right now that's living in an apartment, start acting like how you're going to build a portfolio. You have to start thinking that way before you have one.
And I'll say another thing, because when you go through this book and we get to this section in the book, some people skip it because they'll have the mindset, I don't have another property, or I don't have any prosperity dollars. So when you're looking through your debt, or if you're saying, I don't have a mortgage, I'm paying rent, then these are the things that we want to list in the prosperity area. When we're paying off our installment debt for our regular credit cards, PayPal, and we pay something down, when we take that next amount and move it to the next section, we're adding something on the prosperity side to say, what am I paying down this debt for? Because if you're not going to think, why am I going to get money in motion? What am I doing this for? You have to have a reason, or you're not going to do it, or you're not going to want to continue to not rent, or to be able to buy, or say, I can't afford it. Why can't we afford it? You can't afford it. You have to look at it and see how you can get there. And this part in the book is where you're going to be able to do it. So people they like the budget part because they get to see what they're doing on a day-to-day, but this is where it's going to take you to the next level, where you're going to say, hey, I'm doing this budget like this for what? For what reason? What is my prosperity?
Right. It's like having a vision for it. And it's also, it helps you move forward. By the way, in prosperity, no person should have that empty. If you think you have no prosperity, go out and buy a book. And then write down, you have that as an asset, because that's giving you knowledge. You know what I mean? You're blessed every day with time, talent, you start doing it. I was actually, when I used to speak at this church in New Jersey, there was this guy, his name was Phil. I said, shout out to Phil. Phil worked in pharmaceutical sales. By the way, you guys, New Jersey, that's like the capital of all that. He worked there, but he always wanted, own a McDonald's franchise. He started working at a McDonald's franchise, and he didn't have the money to. At that time, those franchises, I still think they do. I think you need $800,000, like nearly $1 million to have one of those, and doing it. Now I think Chick-fil-A is the thing to do. But anyway, but that was at the height of it. He started working at night at a McDonald's. Remember, he was a pharmaceutical. He's pretty highly, he worked for the company. He started working in a McDonald's, and he used to say this all the time. his kids' friends would walk in and be like, your dad's down there at McDonald's and everything like that. He was at McDonald's. God, I almost want to cry every time I tell the story, Lord. He was there to learn how their distribution channels work. He was there to learn how to get to things. He was there to learn how to train people and how to do it. Okay. So anyway, anyway, Phil has 5 McDonald's franchisee owned. How what happened was one of the guys that owned it, he couldn't buy it. So this is a guy had a stroke or was hurt, I think, and he needed someone to take it over. He took it over, and McDonald's, the corporation, gave him the money. I'm sorry, not gave him. Sorry, they didn't give him that. He says, he corrects me when I said gave. They loaned him the money, but because they got to control. So he did that, but you understand that got him 1. And then he leveraged a 2 to 3. Now he has a training center where he trains everybody, and he has this whole system with managers. Amazing. And it was because of what? He started.
Absolutely.
He started.
Absolutely.
So first he started. What? He was intentional. And when I was seeing him tell stories, like he would just tell that story. Then my kids on Friday night, all their friends would be at McDonald's, and someone would come and they'd be like, "Hey, there's such and such, Mr. Wilkins," and I was like this, and then he was like this. He said, "Yeah, pride." And then he went to Hamburg University. He's like, and he said what university he graduated from, and he was sitting in, and doing the thing.
Yes.
And look at how everybody respects him. He's like, "Oh no, I've worked here. Yep. I've done everything." But see, he did that toward his vision. So in his prosperity section, he said, "I'm working at McDonald's at night." Everybody, is he committed?
Absolutely.
Is he committed?
Absolutely.
So whatever your vision is, you want to start making sure you're spending time on that. You want to spend at least 2 hours a day on whatever that is and put that in your prosperity section. If you want to work camera, you want to be a cameraman, you want to do a wedding, whatever it is you want to do, make sure you write that down in your prosperity and start being intentional about putting things that way. Okay? So now we covered installment debt. Now let's go to prosperity. Then we also covered budget. But then it's prosperity dollars. So Shayna, and then a little bit I want to find out your experience in doing that, is we learn how to budget so we can invest. So you see, we do that where, Shayna, I'm going to get your reflection on this, but at our firm, a lot of times we don't take on, the client has to be able to have something they're investing monthly to be able to build wealth. So just you can tell a little bit about our rules, or a little bit about
a periodic investment plan is something, and it's not just. We always talk about investment, but you are your first investment. So when you're looking at your budget and we're saying periodic investment plan, yeah, people are having it and they're putting it toward brokerage accounts, but you're investing in yourself. So what is that dollar amount that you're installing in yourself every single month? That is what's going to build the prosperity section.
Right. What are some ways that you learned how to have a budget to be able to invest, or what kind of the benefits of that as well?
Well, the beauty is, instead of spending money to pay off debt that you owe, which, let's be honest, at a certain point you do get tired of paying somebody else.
Right.
And that's what, even now, like I rent currently, and I'm tired of giving my wealth, making somebody else wealthy by me paying helping pay the mortgage on this building every single month. So the beauty of it for me is that the money that you used to spend in your debt elimination plan, now all that, once you're debt free and you're liberated from your debt, now all that becomes prosperity, either saving for the emergency fund or prosperity funds, and now you have the income to be able to make the decisions that you need to be able to build your wealth. So I can invest in some of the companies that you talked about. I can spend money in investing. I can spend more money to learn more. I took a real estate investments course because I want to move towards a rental owner or income through rental investment property. For me, the beauty is that when you're in debt is bondage.
Yeah.
And you feel powerless to the amount of money that you owe, which is why a lot of people, as we talked about before, don't want to face it, because it's like you're incarcerated. You don't want to be reminded of that 10-year bid you got to keep doing. That's how people feel when it comes to debt. Like you're continuously being reminded of how much you owe, and also the decisions that you made to get to this point. And some people they beat themselves up over it. But for me, there's liberty. The biggest thing was having knowing that you're debt free, knowing you don't owe any man anything but love. One of my favorite scriptures is Romans 13:8. Yeah. When you know that you're free and you can start using the money that you make to invest in yourself, to build your own wealth, as opposed to giving money to somebody else, there's a power and a freedom that comes with that. And now you can Once you have your plan, you can execute your plan and you can dictate, what you want to spend your money towards and how you want to invest and how you want to grow and build your wealth. I think that's one of the greatest joys of that is knowing that you are not powerless anymore and that you have power to create the legacy that you want to create for yourself and your family.
Right. And what's interesting about, and then I'd like to get your comment on this, is that Jay knows clients that have worked with us for a long time, and then also people who are, the people at different levels, struggling and sinking, steady, solid, surplus, service. The people that are up on the solid and the surplus and the service levels, they have worked their budget. Like one of the things I do with the budget, like people say, George, do you save 10% of your income? And good or bad, I just tell them this is I don't know that, because I first want you to save 10% of your income. First, I want you to tithe, and then I want you to save 10% of your income. Then I want you to save 20% of your income. Then I want you to save 30%. Then once you hit 30, then you switch over to what I teach and what I do. Is I only give away a certain amount of my income. So a better thing, instead of saying, so imagine that, just imagine that right now. Imagine saying I'm only going to give away 30% of my income. Then I can take the other 70 and I can do ministry, I can do this, and I can pass on. So then, can I say one other part about that, and then I'll get your comment on it? If you're only giving away, let's say, half of your income, then you can retire. Then you don't have to work. Because see how that, trying to keep up and doing all this stuff and all those, then you don't have to worry about it. You see, and then back to earlier when I brought up how we go to the amusement parks, there's nothing wrong with going. I'm not saying we're not going. It's just that when you see us, we're going to have a backpack. Okay, when you see us, okay, that's what we're going to do. Okay? And there's no problem. We're going to pop a little popcorn before we get there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to still get a treat. But you know what, though? We'll be in there. And that experience my kids liked, and they can come back, and I'll say this to them, we can come back whenever you want, because we're doing that. Last one about saving money, because I was getting a little thinking about it, we went to Hawaii. And everybody, I'm going to put the picture in the chat, you know how everything's expensive over there, right? I brought a suitcase full of all the food for the entire week. They got off and said, we're going to go to Pearl Harbor. And they said, we're going to eat lunch. I said, Grace, before you get off, here's your Frito chip, here's your thing, here's the other one. And then also got to teach giving. A girl was sitting there, and she said that they didn't have that there, the little chili something things. And Grace, she wanted it. I said, Grace, just give her the whole bag, because the thing. And then Grace, she gave me a little look. I said, don't worry about it. And then I gave her my backups. Yes. Remember that? Because remember savings plan? Remember that one? See, guys?
Right.
And doing that, I gave that to her. But I want her to know that's how God is.
Absolutely.
You see, how God works is you see in Philippians 4:19, it says, my God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory. That means God already has it. See, she thought when she gave that girl something, she was going to have less. She don't know. She's like, Gracie. I was like, Gracie, I gave you this, but your father got a backpack. But you understand, God
for sure
has it all. Psalms 24:1, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness therein. But that's how we learn how to manage those. So, hey, last question, and then we're kind of coming around. A lot of times people want to say this, I want to retire. I hear this all the time. I want to have a home. And one of the things is we want to show them, one, how they're going to go through the process. But how do you think budgeting has helped people get in those positions, Shana, than just how that's helped you?
I think budgeting helps people get in those positions. Just rule off the top, it's a plan. But also when you look at it, because even thinking about the conversation we just had, when I've sent this type of topic to other people or clients, they'll say, well, they have income. They make a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money. My budget doesn't allow me to do those kind of things. How do you know? You haven't looked at it. And then if your income or your expenses exceed your income, we have to, one, lower the expenses, but we also have to increase the income. So we do have to have a mindset of this job, I may need more than one job. I may need to change a job. I may need to figure out what I need to do to invest in myself to get a job that I can do more. So we can't have the can't mentality, but the budget starts first, because you have to be able to look at those numbers to figure out how much are you even short? Like, do your expenses, are they more than your income?
Right.
Because that is a thing.
Right.
So.
Gotcha. So one of the things is that we also do this with installment debt is we asked you to write down all the companies. That's really funny. I think it was church. I was in this church in Gardena one day, and I'm going over my debt multiplier and everything. This is way before, but this is like 10 years ago. I'm going over the debt multiplier, and I said, hey, everybody, tell y'all the name of the debt. And then somebody yelled, someone said, Chase, like Chase Bank. And then someone yelled, they chasing me. She said it so, you know what I mean? Like, broke my whole pattern, right? You're right. I don't know if you were. Anyway, so look, they said chasing me, and then I listed all these companies. I'm not going to sit here and do it now because we're not doing our investment. But you guys, I want you guys to think about this now. The sheet, I'm going to do your morning. You get up in the morning. What's in your? Where'd you get the sheets on your bed from? They come from places like one starts with a T. Mm-hmm. It ends with a get. Target. Okay, gotcha. And that or Bed Bath, wherever you bought that. Then you go in. Does everybody brush your teeth?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not highly advised. Where does that toothpaste? What company? Don't say toothpaste. Name the name of that company.
Colgate.
And you guys are right. Gotcha. So by the way, we're not giving stock recommendations. We're just giving you companies. Okay. Then you guys go through that, and then some people might have a phone, right? What type of phone is that? Okay. Now you guys, there's only two now, I guess. But anyway, what type of phone is that, right? When you guys go to work, you guys are using phone lines, everything like this, shoes, different things. Look at products that you use on a daily basis that are sitting in that budget. Okay. Now, did I tell you there was installment debt? Did I tell you there was budget? Things that are in the budget, write down those names of those companies. Then you guys search stuff out on the internet. There's a browser that you guys use, to do this. You're watching us right now, more than likely. YouTube is owned by another company that starts with a G and has another one in it.
Okay. A now, but.
Right, gotcha. Okay, all right. But But you guys understand that? And then you guys also maybe watch us on another, here we go. You're watching us on Facebook, you guys are watching us on YouTube right now, or you're watching us on our website. Those platforms. So if we wrote down all those companies that now you're using, you guys use these platforms, and also you've already spent money, right? Spend it, lend it, own some. You spent money in these areas. Write down 10 of these companies, or write down some of these companies. Now, if you want to invest in us, we'll talk to you about that and doing it. But I'm saying, just imagine if you wrote down these companies, look them up, and then say, instead of sending them a couple $100s a month in this, I'm now even naming credit cards. Imagine if I had bought
some stock,
the stock in that exact same thing. Now, we've had conversations about this.
Yes, we have.
So what I'm saying is that if we bought stocks in these companies, where we'd be right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I would tell you, close your eyes, but I don't want you to do that. I don't want nobody to fall asleep, okay? But now, so here we go. Write down the names of just the stuff that you're using. We call that new eyes.
Yep.
In the book, it's called New Eyes. Look at the stuff, and then, I'm sorry if you want me to kill it. Write down all the stuff your kids eat, because they look, all kids in LA Unified are eating chips from a certain place. Okay, I'm sorry, not LA Unified. I was all over the world, they eat these things, okay? Look at these companies and everything like that. And then look at that. We joked around a little bit earlier, but I said I use Starbucks again. Just an example is Starbucks is selling hot water for $4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good business. You know what I mean? Like so in that area is list all the things that you're doing, and then look at how much we would use to invest in them. And why am I telling you this? To motivate you to pay this off. How much you're spending in your budget on installment debt if you were investing. If you were investing that money. Yep. Burnell, what has been the change from you doing that? From you seeing that, just seeing the investing in some of those companies?
Once again, like you mentioned having a vision before, and many of us, I think, don't necessarily have that vision, or we don't believe in that vision. So I've always, even when I didn't have my act together, like Shane was talking about before, right. I still wanted to be an owner. I still wanted to own. I still wanted to, because there's ownership is everything that matters. You can only buy businesses or land. All the tax advantages in this company go to business owners or landowners, because the people that work in Congress aren't public service; they're landowners and business owners. So they wrote the laws to for their favor. So you have to own something. And so for me, it was about ownership. It's something that I could own and then pass on, to my kids, as we talked about before. So going from being just a consumer, which is what you're talking about, like just buying the products, to being an owner. Right. So just one quick category. So you talked about, brushing your teeth, all those things. The things you normally buy for your household, those only fit into a category called consumer staples. Those are things that you use every single day.
Right.
So look at some of those companies.
Right.
And they're especially good too during this time we're in right now, where there's a recession, inflation. Those companies, if you pay attention, they've taken less of a hit than the technology companies, some other companies.
Right. Okay. Stop. Now you're giving financial advice.
I'm just saying.
You see that? That was good. You see, he slid it in there. He said large consumer cyclicals can operate in a high inflation, a high interest rate, and geopolitical risk. You guys see that? That was awesome.
Hey, you said think like
an owner.
I said no.
I used to repeat what I said. Yes, you are. Good. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
No, but it's important to understand that all these companies that you talked about, right? They all market their products towards us.
Right.
And so every advertisement you see on TV nowadays either has, black folks in it, or got a black family, or it's got hip hop music. It's all marketed towards us. We are the target audience. And so everybody knows that, like you mentioned earlier, that you don't have to teach us to spend because we do that naturally. Mm-hmm. But the point is to develop the wealth mindset and the wealth consciousness, so that way you have a mindset of we're owning and taking the actions that people that own things take. That's a mindset change that you have to have. So you have to start acting like an owner as opposed to just acting like a consumer.
Exactly.
And that's how you build your wealth.
That's how you do it. So, hey, family, again, whenever you make $1, there's only 3 things you can do: is spend it. Mm-hmm. That's also lend it. That means put it in the bank at 0.000. You tired of me doing that. Lend it, and the third is ownership. Just what he talked about in owning the company, owning the companies. So, also, we told you, and you will not forget this. Hopefully, is that there are 4 stages of growth. Number 1 is spending control. Mm-hmm. That's the budget, what we covered today and last episode. And then 2 is debt elimination. That's our classes do good. Mm-hmm. And then vesting is what we also covered a little bit today, is that we're going to have a budget so we can save and invest. I told you there was 4. And the 4th one is build a wealth machine, so we're able to do that. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing is, I told you, if you learn this, you will never be, this is a really good financially for you to learn how to do, is get your money in motion. Mm-hmm. That means installment debt, budget, and prosperity. Because when your money is in motion, it ain't going nowhere but up. I want to thank you so much. Shayna coming out here on her birthday. Shout out in the chat. Burnell came in here, broke it down. He's been doing this stuff. It's awesome watching you do this. You guys, I get... It is so awesome for me when I see people, when they do this and they pay this off and they pay this off, and then they're able to invest and they have this and they're all excited about the investments. Mm-hmm. And then they have that monthly plan going, and then we aren't giving out investment advice. Then when the market goes down and up and down and up, then when you're buying that, you buying low and sell and, and keeping doing this, and it just gives you such a great opportunity. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure we're showing you those opportunities. So we look forward to seeing you on our next episode of The Wealth Cycle, where we build a financial legacy. You guys ready? Ready, set, grow.